What's up, everyone? Welcome to week 2 of the 2026 Two Off the Tee schedule. I'm your host, Keith Flemming, joined, as I will be every week this year, by my good buddy, Scott. I got an interesting mustache growing, Porter, but I will say, Scott came right out of the gate, said, "You know what, Keith, I'm going to show you up. I know this has been your show for a lot longer than mine, but I'm going to give a winner in my debut episode." Good call with Chris got her up, my man. Take a bow, Scotty.
That's all him. I can't call much on that. But he is the hottest player on the planet. Potentially not named Scotty, but he might be hotter than Scotty at this point.
Oh, let's not get carried away. He did birdie 5 of the last 6 holes, which was absolutely incredible. So much so, and I mean, I can't blame the telecast because I didn't think he was going to come back and win either. That they barely showed any of his round because they didn't assume that he was going to be in contention. I hated it for Hideki though, because we've all, like, anybody who's played golf at even a relatively high level knows how hard it is to score when you cannot hit your driver for anything. And I mean, he could not find a fairway to save his life. And for a guy that for long stretches of his career has really struggled, especially with the flat stick, he made so many clutch putts outside of what you would call like gimme distance. It was a really great performance by Hideki. And what was funny was either way in the playoff, we were going to have a guy, not even 2 full months into this season, that had won twice on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, it's just one of those things with Goddard up and Hideki. There's so much pressure. You've taken the venue at the Waste Management. You've got the fans. You've got everything that happened, and we can get into that at a later point. But it speaks to, number one, the putter is going to win, and who makes the most putts wins. But then also, to your point on Hideki, I've never seen someone score as well as he did, hitting it as wild as he did, or it has been a while since we've seen that. Both players that were in the playoff are reminding me a
You
little
look
bit of
like Pete
speed.
Keith Fleming, Scott. Like nothing special tee to green, but man, once he
Right.
got there, hello.
Once he got hot on the greens, both of them really, Goddard and Hideki, both putted extremely well. But Goddard's just making those 10 to 15 footers at kind of a rate that we don't see a lot on the PGA
What's
Tour.
going on, Cal?
One of the things that I was kind of thinking of was, think back to like Jordan in 2015, where he just seemed to be making those longer, like 10 to 15 putts during that season, that one magical season that he had where he won the US Open and he won at the Masters. He just seemed to make more of those mid-range putts, and Goddard is making those right now. And then he's also an incredible ball striker. So shout out to both of them. I feel really bad for Hideki and everything that happened with that.
That's
But
bullshit. We'll talk about that at the end of the show.
perfect. Sounds good.
We're gonna each week get right into the event. Like, we want to discuss the stories going on in the game of golf. I want to talk to my boy about Patrick Reed and other things, but we know that most people are here for the DFS betting and venue preview. So that's what we're going to get right into. And boy, we're at one of the most iconic golf courses, at least for 3 of the 4 events that are 3 or 4 rounds this week, and that's Pebble Beach. But Spyglass, as Ricky Polston said, my good buddy who's played there, it's pretty nice as well. We've got the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. They changed this event 2 years ago, and I really leaned into, for course history, the last 2 years because of this. You got to understand, before 2024, they were playing 3 venues. So only 2 rounds on Pebble. And then obviously, the other 2 rounds were on Spyglass, and I forget the name of the third course, but they changed that in 2024 when this became a signature event. It's one of the rare instances where the course that you play more, unlike at Torrey, where the harder golf course, they're only playing once. Spyglass is much harder than Pebble Beach. But let's touch on Spyglass real quickly, because again, there'll only be 1 round there. It is a Not a very long course either. It's right at about 7,000 yards. I will say, though, because of all the elevation changes at that venue, and then obviously we know the weather with it being, coastal, it does play much longer than the number, and that will play a factor. So I know you're sitting there looking at, well, this is, a super short course right at 7,000 yards. It's like, it does have 4 par 4s that play under 400 yards. You need to take advantage of those holes, but the 5 holes that are exposed to the coastal winds, that is what can be the teeth of this golf course, particularly if the wind is really blowing. I mean, we're talking about true, coastal golf where there's not a tree anywhere. And then it's just ironic that the other 13 completely tree line, pretty much to protect you, from the elements. Again, it plays more difficult than Pebble. At least it has, historically, and that's, the last 5 years, each time it has. It's ironic that this event has the shortest driving distance, at least by average, of any event on tour. You do not see that every day. And at least when it comes to Spyglass, again, I'm not leaning too much into that because remember, we're getting 1 out of the 4 rounds on that side. But it's very similar to the other one. Again, you want guys that can hit greens because smallest greens on tour, Pebble Beach, 5th smallest greens on tour, Spyglass. So obviously hitting greens is going to be difficult this week. That means scrambling, bogey avoidance is a big key, and something I normally don't include in, my stats and model is the ability to scramble from the sand. But with Pebble having 116 bunkers, that is the most on tour. And then Spyglass, most of their greens are surrounded by very deep, difficult bunkers. I do think that sand save percentage is a big deal this week. Anything that I missed on Spyglass, or do you want to just immediately get into the meat and potatoes of Pebble Beach?
Yeah, no, the only thing that I kind of really honed in on was, to your credit, with the small greens on both courses. This is an event with one of the lowest greens in regulation percentages across the field. I believe it's top 5 on the season.
That's correct.
So it's one of those things where it's like they have to. It does play longer because you can't just bomb it. You can't just try to take the length out of play. You've got to lay up to certain spots. You've got to hit fairways to give you the right angle to hit the very small green. So I think you nailed it. You nailed every aspect of everything that I looked at.
All right, well, let's talk Pebble a little bit then. Pebble, obviously iconic course, 7 majors have been hosted here, including, I still think, the greatest 4 rounds of golf in the history of the game. Tiger's 2000 win. Seriously, if you're young and you've never seen it, go to YouTube. I'm sure they have it where it's just Tiger's. It was just incredible. He literally destroyed the field by the end of the week. It is Pebble's an interesting one though, man. Scott made the point. It's a less than driver course. Most of these guys are not going to be hitting driver off the tee. You're talking about a course that's just under 7,000 yards. Again, the shortest average driving distance, 274. The tour average for most events is 304. So you're talking about 30 yards less off the tee. It is ironic, though. I love looking at trends. 3 of the last 5 winners did rank inside the field for the week in driving distance. So even though it's not a huge factor, again, it kind of shows
it always is a little bit of a
maybe
factor.
it is a little bit. You made the point. The big thing for Pebble, because of less than driver and it being so short, a lot of short irons into the green. You're going to have 44% of your approaches coming from 150 yards or closer into the greens. That is, I believe, the highest on tour. I know it's one of the highest. Again, tour average is around 35-36%. So almost 10% more of their approaches are going to come from that. So I leaned into that heavily. We talked about the smallest greens on tour, and anybody who's played Poana greens knows they are evil. They get very bumpy. They're very difficult to putt on. That is no exception at Pebble. putts from 4 to 8 feet, inside 10 feet in general, and 20 to 25 feet. Pebble ranks in the top 10 for most difficult from those distances of venues on the PGA Tour. And then, we talked again about the scrambling. 4 of the last 5 winners ranked top 10 in the field the week that they won in scrambling. And then again, when you were talking about how important it is to hit greens, no surprise, all of the last 5 winners ranked top 20 in the field in strokes gained approach. Anything else you want to add to Pebble? What were you kind of looking at for your key stats this week?
Yeah, definitely. Just again, attacking greens, green and regs. You had the 44% stat. I have 31% of the approach shots this week will come from inside of 125. So very, very similar. But to your credit, or to your point there, 36% is about normal for under 150. This week you're getting an emphasis on wedge play. You're getting an emphasis on kind of that strokes gained 50 to 125 number. So really honed in on the wedge play. But again, I think this is a place that, because it is shorter, and even though I do like that stat about the last 5 winners being in the top 15 in driving distance, most of these guys can't. 3 out of the last 5, excuse me. Most of the guys out here can control their driver. In fact, they would rather hit their driver. So just having that taken out of the bag, even a little bit more than they're comfortable with, means it's a little bit of who's playing the best. That's kind of how I feel about this week. So you'll kind of see that in the picks that I play, is really who's playing the best coming into this event, a little bit more than the history of the event.
Love it. So the key stats this week that I did in my model, which all that will be live by tomorrow morning for the All Access Fantasy 6-pack members. Strokes gained approach, obviously, driving accuracy. Again, the proximity, I did 150 yards and within, but you could easily do 125 within. I didn't know that it was that. I mean, that's a significant portion of those shots I was talking about. Both par 4 and par 5 scoring, which is always just between me and you in there. Birdie or better percentage, green and regulation percentage. But then, of course, because of the size of the greens, scrambling and bogey avoidance. And then again, I did do, obviously, course and comp course history, but I leaned in for course history to the last 2 years because, again, they were playing 3 venues up until then. Do you want to go DFS first? You want to go betting?
Oh, man, that's completely up to you. I've got both ready and prepared.
All right. Well, we'll do DFS then. Death, taxes, playing Scotty Scheffler, and cash games. And they did us a favor this week because, remember, a signature event means no cut. So if, like me, you were confident that Scotty Scheffler is probably going to win this event, which I think he is, you can very easily fit a lineup with the guys in the 6K range who I like anyway, but you don't have to worry about, what happens if they shoot a bad number Thursday or Friday. Everybody's playing 4 rounds. But Scheffler, I mean, he's tailor-made for every course. But again, what do we talk about, right? You need to be accurate hitting into greens. He is currently hitting 81% of his greens in regulation. He's such a jerk. He is 14th in scrambling, 4th in bogey avoidance. I talked about how the bunkers are such a big deal this week. He's 3rd in sand save percentage. He's 1st in par 4 scoring, 2nd in par 5 scoring. And then again, you need to both be able to make birdies because this is a course where you can score, but also you need to be able to avoid bogeys. He's 1st in birdie or better percentage and 4th in bogey avoidance. So I'm going with a lot of lineups with Scheffler, and one of the main reasons is there's 2 guys at 6,300 that I really love this week, and they are Bud Cauley and Lucas Glover, who are both ball strikers who excel on golf courses that have less than driver. Cauley is somebody who has a decent history here, but he really excels at that 50 to 150 range. He is 22nd on tour from 100 to 125, 21st from 50 to 125. So again, most of those shots, you got what, like a third of them are going to be coming from that distance. He'll have no problem with that. And again, he really does excel on courses that he doesn't have to pound driver because he can't really pound driver anyway. And then Lucas Glover, man, finished third here last year. Just it's his debut event, so a little bit of concern about that. You know, you never know how somebody's going to come like right off the bat. He has been playing TGL though, so he's been playing a little golf, but last year, top 25 strokes gained approach. He was 14th in driver accuracy. And then basically nobody better. He was second from 125 to 150 on approaches last year. And he was 20th on approaches from 50 to 125. So if you're putting Glover, Cauley, and Scheffler, as call it a little core, it's not breaking the bank like it was some of these other weeks where I still have $23,000 for the rest of my lineup. And again, you can use cheap plays without the fear that you normally do of them having to worry about missing the cut. Kyle said that was a great point. I appreciate you, Kyle. You're too kind. And I also missed this. Such a detailed look at the course. It's like you guys had a spyglass looking at it. Kyle, I love you, man. Give me your top guy this week. Like if you're building a lineup, where are you going?
I'm going Justin Rose. I'm going Justin Rose.
Smart
again,
man. He's definitely
man.
mine.
First of all, I mean, the performance is not out of my mind. No matter what my boy Goddard up did last week, the performance from 2 weeks ago is still front and center in my mind. Number one, I love Justin Rose's golf swing. It's very similar to the model golf swing that I teach. And so I have a bit of a soft spot for the way that he goes about it. I talked about it last week. So, you know, I trust Justin Rose just as much as I trust Scotty Scheffler from 50 to 125. I really, really do. So I'm looking at it from, I'm going to front load my lineup here. I'm going to give you some guys that a lot of people are probably mentioning because they're playing really well. And when you don't get Scotty, you can get a few, 3 or 4 of these other guys kind of that have top 20 expectations. So I'm going Justin Rose. I'm going Ben Griffin. Again, another really strong wedge player. Somebody that I really, really trust with a wedge in his hand. He's at 8,400. So you got 9,400, 8,400. And then I'm going to go back to the well. And I've read multiple people kind of fading this guy. I'm going back to the well with Chris Goddard up to round out my top 3 at 9,000. He's 3 for 3 on he's 4 for 4 now on made cuts, 2 wins in the first 4 events of the season. I made the joke that, you know, he may be hotter than Scotty Scheffler at the moment.
Get out of here with that crap.
I'm not really so sure that's a joke at the moment, being in the last 60 days.
Scott, come on,
in the last 60 days, Chris Goddard has been just as consistent and just swinging it just as good. Now, do I trust Goddard in the majors as much as I trust Scotty? No, I do not. Do I trust him moving forward just as much? No, I do not. But playing another short golf course or a shortish golf course, and with his recent, I'm sticking with those 3 at the top.
Okay. Again, Goddard is playing amazing golf. Scott Scheffler, 17 straight finishes of 8th or better. He shot 2 over the first round this week and still barely missed getting into that playoff. I'm sorry, nobody's playing better golf than my man Scheffler at this moment. I love the Rose play. Again, it's one of those deals where he loves these West Coast, venues. He's won here before. He actually won the last year that they did the 3 venue rotation, but that was 2023. Obviously won at Torrey a couple of weeks ago, but his game just fits the mold. 4th in strokes gained approach, 29th in strokes gained putting. He's 3rd right now in greens and regulation percentage. To your point, he's top 25 in both the 125 to 150 distance and also the 50 to 125, which that's going to be a huge part about it. And then top 10 in both par 4 and par 5 scoring. So that's a great call. I also do love the Goddard play. I think people will be fading him a little bit because what I said last week, right? Like, I loved it, but I just was like, well, he's kind of due for a bad week. Yeah, I'm a freaking genius. Look at me. But two guys that, again, I just want to mention because I cannot love them enough, and they're, I think, severely underpriced. The first is Daniel Berger at 8K. This is a guy that has finished 16th and 6th and 2 of his last 3 starts at this venue. Oh, no, excuse me. I'm getting it confused. Berger actually won this event the last time he played it. That's pretty good. That was all the way back in 2021. He finished 6th the year before that. But his game is just perfectly tailor-made to this venue. He has finished 16th and 6th in 2 of his 3 events this season on tour, made the cut in all 3. Again, you want somebody who is a very good iron player. He's 13th in strokes gained approach, 7th in green and regulation percentage. You want somebody who can scramble, avoid big numbers. He's 29th in scrambling, 8th in bogey avoidance. And then he's been playing par 5s really well, which is a big factor here as well. He's 12th in par 5 scoring. And then Ryan Gerard at 7,500, going to be in a bunch of lineups. And we're going to talk about Gerard's betting numbers here in a few minutes as well. This dude is on a heater, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. You want to talk about somebody who is not getting a lot of attention because he hasn't won, and I get that, but consistently playing well week in and week out. And again, go over these statistics because they keep coming up over and over again, but you need to be a good iron player. He's 17th in strokes gained approach, 33rd in green and regulation percentage. You need to be able to scramble, avoid bogeys, putt well, 17th strokes gained putting. He's 13th in scrambling and 8th in bogey avoidance. And then what do you want to do? You want to be able to make birdies. Well, he can do that. 9th in birdie or better percentage. Top 10 in both par 4 and par 5 scoring. And then, oh, by the way, he's top 40 in approaches from 50 to 125 and top 20 on approaches from 125 to 150. So you got a guy that just, this should be a venue that he thrives at. So, and again, at 8,000 and 7,500, those are guys that you can put in your lineup and you can be very aggressive. If you want to play Scheffler, if you want to play McIlroy, you can play them very easily with guys in that range. We have not mentioned Rory McIlroy. What are your thoughts? This is both the first event for Rory and Tommy Fleetwood. It's a venue that obviously Rory won at last year, so he doesn't dislike this venue and the 2-course rotation. And again, Fleetwood is like one of the best players in the world from 150 in, and he thrives on less than driver courses. What are your expectations for those two guys making their 2026 PGA Tour debut?
Just being who both of those guys are, the world-class players they are, I expect them to play decently well. I don't expect either of them to top 5, and I don't expect either of them to win, just based on the fact that this is their debut. Now, I agree that Rory won last year, and I believe it was his debut last year as well, in the season, but for me, I look at these things much more holistically, I think, than a lot of people do. And it's going to still be a minute before I trust Rory McIlroy's wedge game to the level that I trusted some of these other guys. And he's world class and he's top 5 in the world and he won the Masters last year and all of that. But when you watch him play, he is much better at the 175 to 200 mark than a lot of people are, and he's consistent at the wedge play, but it's not really. I wouldn't put him in the category of right now trusting it to win or to put him on lineup. So I'm fading Rory just a little bit. Now Tommy's a little bit of a difference. We've seen Tommy for a long time, but we haven't seen Tommy as good as he was at the tail end of last year. Um, just who he is as a grinder, who he is as a ball striker, who he is as a wedge player, that leads me to want to take him. I want to see it. I want to see his form this year. I want to see if it's the same as
he's been playing great the DP World Tour.
He has been playing. He's been playing well over there. He has been playing well over there. It's one of those things where I trust Tommy Fleetwood just as much as I trust a Justin Rose or whoever else, but I've seen Rosie already do it on our side of the Atlantic this year, and I just want to wait on that one.
Fair enough. Another guy making his PGA Tour debut, another one of these damn foreigners, Shane Lowry. this is a Shane Lowry venue. Like, in some ways, at 7,900, I'm worried I don't have him in enough lineups because excellent, right? Wedge player, like from 150 in. If, say, the wind gets a little frisky and it's more than normal, who's better at playing in windy conditions than these guys from, like, say, Northern Ireland? He finished runner up last year, losing only to his boy Rory. And that was his first start here since the US Open in 2019, where he finished 28th. I think, and again, we're going to talk about Lowry when we get into the betting plays, but I think Lowry at 7,900 should be in at least some of your cash lineups. And I'm just trying to figure out how many I want to have him in for myself.
Yeah, I love that play. I love that play. For me, ironically, we're going to touch on it again when we brought up is the betting, but I'm very bullish on Ryan Gerard this week. If Justin Rose anchors the top of my DFS, the top three, then Gerard anchors the bottom three. So I've got him at 7,500. And then the other two guys that I have that their form may not be exceptionally well looking at it over a last 12 months or last 6 months, really, being Sahith Theegala. You can get him as cheap as 7,300. Now he's coming off of a not so great year last year, but he's got 3 top 20s this year.
He had a
He's playing
terrible year last year, but he's starting to look like the guy that he was, the first 2 years of his
and
career.
you want to talk about that? Who can put birdies on the board?
Yes, sir.
Arguably the quickest is Sahith Theegala, and he can get hot with his wedges. So I've got him as my anchor position. And then in my 4 slot, I have a guy that I'm just expecting big things of, a guy that I hope kind of comes into form this week, and that's Harris English. I think he is a very, very good. Yeah, that part is a little unfortunate, but I think he is a very, very good ball striker. I think he just is the if you think of somebody that is going to put themselves in position off the tee, is going to do the right things, take the right shots, not be too aggressive into these small greens, I think Harris English has a great chance to top 10 this week. So I've got him in my 4 spot, rounding out my DFS.
Again, I think those are great picks. Real quickly before we get into the bets, I just want to go over the guys that, because again, it's only the last 2 years that this has become just a 2-course venue. And again, the reason they do that is for the Pro-Am. You've seen Bill Murray, those type guys, hanging around. That's what's so crazy about this event is, like, on Sunday when it's tight, there's a good chance that there's Bob, the executive at Chevron or whatever, playing it as well, which I just couldn't imagine. It's like somebody, I read an article not too long ago about the guy that was with Tiger when he made his huge charge here in 2001 on Monday, and the fist pump as he hold it from the fairway, and I couldn't imagine. But looking back the last 2 years, Jason Day, a guy that we have not mentioned, but has an unbelievable track record here. He finished 13th and 6th the last 2 years. His finish is going all the way back to 2016 here. 24th, 7th, 4th, 4th, 2nd, 5th, 11th. And he finished 21st in the 2019 US Open. Justin Rose, again, won the event in 2023, then 3rd and 11th. Tom Hoge, which is another guy that if you're looking for those 6K range, he won this event in 2022, and then the last 2 years, 17th and 6th. Scotty Scheffler, no surprise what event has he not done well in, but he's finished 9th and 6th the last 2 years. Colin Morikawa, who you couldn't pay me to play, but he finished 17th and 14th the last 2 years. My boy Sepp Straka, go Dogs, 7th and 26th. Sam Bermuda, maybe Poana Burns, 22nd and 10th. Siwoo Kim, again, who's been just playing amazing golf. He finished 12th and 14th the last 2 years. And I believe that's all the guys, that had basically back-to-back, strong finishes at this event. And again, exactly the way it is constructed for this week.
And I have a stat to go along with that.
Let's do this.
Of
Yeah.
16 of the last 16 winners of this event have played in it at least twice. So if you're
Oh,
looking at that and you couple that with the last two performances of all the guys you just mentioned, I think we're in for a great week. I think it's going to be a very, very exciting and fun week on tour.
oh, the tour's in great place right now. All right, let's get to the betting cards. I told you I think Scheffler's going to win. I do. I'm not going to bet him though. It's just like it's got to be. I'm almost certain Scheffler is going to win. Like last week at the Phoenix, right? And I know it didn't work out, but again, he shot 2 over the first round. He flubbed at least one chip that I know of. I think he also putted once where it came back to his face. So I mean, he gave away 2-3 shots. He still almost won the tournament, but that was a venue he's already won twice. Like it's just like when we get to Augusta. Go ahead and tell you, I'm going to be betting Scotty Scheffler to win at Augusta, but I think he's going to win this week. But without him ever winning here, I'm not going to put that, as an official bet. Like it's not good enough odds to get, it's just not worth it. The only person that is low odds that I'm betting on, my boy Victor Hovland. I think this is the exact kind of venue that he could get his next PGA Tour win on. He's played well here before. He is just such a great ball striker, particularly again from that 150 and in number. And he actually putted and chipped really well last week, which is like better knock on some wood because, it can get really shaky, especially around the greens with the wedge play and stuff. So that's the only guy other than long shots that I'm playing. Then outside of that, Sepp Straka, 63-1. Again, he's finished 26 or better each of the last 2 years. He thrives on golf courses that it takes precision iron play on. Again, he won at the Honda. Shane Lowry at 67-1 for all the reasons I just spoke about earlier. I cannot believe you can get him at 67-1. Daniel Berger, who is 65-1. And then Lucas Glover is 195-1 to win this event. Why not? With, again, his iron play and, him just being the man. You got any bets to win? Because I actually do it more heavy on the top 5, top 10 plays than I did the bets to win because I think it's going to be, unfortunately, a Scheffler week again.
I've got 2 to win, and one of them we've already mentioned. I am just bullish, like I said, on Ryan Gerard. I think we're in the same boat on him. One of my favorite things about him, and again, this is more of me looking at it from just a vibe standpoint of a huge golf nerd.
So funny, buddy.
Him and his roommate in Jupiter took out their kitchen table and have 3 or 4 different putting.
What's his roommate's name? Did you say in Jupiter?
Yeah, I think it's Austin Hitt who played. He played.
I'm sorry, in Jupiter, Florida. I thought you were saying that his roommate's name was in Jupiter, and I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, they live together in Jupiter. Yeah, in Jupiter. So, anyways, I was listening to the Smiley Show, and they had Ryan Gerard on for an interview, and he was talking about that he has 3 or 4 different putting mats in place of their kitchen table that they spend hours on a night playing games and going back and forth. And yeah, I'm a huge believer in that everybody should be practicing every day, even if you don't go to the golf course. So with that, and also the fact that he's a big Scotty Cameron guy, I really think that he's going to knock one of these off soon. He's played his last, I think, 12 or 14 rounds. I have it written down. Under par. I've written down 3 putting mats instead of a kitchen table. He's the last 16 rounds, have been under par for Ryan Gerard. I think that he is in form. I think he is phenomenal with his wedges in his hand, and I think he is going to be able to figure out the greens. So I've got him at plus 61.
What was last year his first year on the big boy tour? Because last year was the first time I remember, noticing him. I just was curious.
Yeah, I think he was a 2020. I believe he was a 2024 Korn Ferry graduate. And then my other play, this one's more at the top of the board, is Siwoo. I mean, how can you go T3 T2 runner-up and then T3, and then come into this week not expecting Siwoo Kim to play well. He's played well all year long, and I trust his short game. I trust his
12th
wedges.
and 14th at this event the last 2 years, so it's not
That
like
was
it's a
my
venue he hasn't had success.
I had finished top 15 the last 2 years at the AT&T Pro-Am, and going back to the 16 winners have played here at least 2 times. He's played here more than 2 times. But again, I'm just looking for somebody that knows this place. I'm looking for somebody that I trust is in form from 125 yards and in, and someone that I think is getting a little bit irritated that he hasn't won recently and that he hasn't put it all together with the form that he's playing in. So I've got those two to win, and then I've got a couple more top 5, top 10s.
He's got to get the putter going one week. Like, if I don't know how much you got to catch of his round Saturday and Sunday, he hit it well enough to win that tournament, and he just could not make those like 10 to 15 footers, which are, just outside of where, the guys basically are automatic from that range, and he just makes a little bit lower percentage than he should. But I mean, I completely agree that he's literally 4 good putting days away if he continues to play, tee to green the way he has, from not only winning event, but potentially like, lapping the field, because it's just so impressive how good, his entire game has become over the last few years. The top 5 for me, Justin Rose, Jason Day are the first 2 I'm looking at, plus 470, plus 680. That's really good odds for, again, Justin Rose has 2 top 5 finishes, and he finished 11th and the other in his last 3 starts here. And then Jason Day, how many did I list off? There was like 7 top 5s here since 2016. So history matters. And it also doesn't hurt that they're both in good form entering this event. Again, Shane Lowry, I just think is a ridiculous discount. He is 9-1. So is Daniel Berger and Ryan Gerard. So, like, right there, that's 3 guys. I'm getting 9-1 odds that I think are very likely. And that's something I've been trying to do lately, is really, the winner odds have gotten so difficult. Like, these books don't really give you the correct winner odds. The biggest complaint I had was last year, Cam Young was prime example. He had never won an event, and he was consistently 22, 25, 28 to 1. And I'm like, okay, he's made like 65, 70 career PGA Tour starts, and he's never won, but you're telling me it's a 22, 25 to 1? That used to not be the case. I do think, though, that they have not figured out yet the top 5, top 10 at sub odds, because it just feels like good value. Same sense that Lucas Glover is 22 to 1. If you heard me talking earlier, just unbelievable wedge game. He finished top 5 here last year in this event. I love the value that you're getting there from guys that both have good track records at this event, are playing amazing golf, and just, again, you're getting 9-1 for Ryan Gerard, 9-1 for Daniel Berger and Lowry. And I mean, Scheffler to win is plus 250, right? And you're getting 9-1 odds on those guys. I've really been paying more attention to the top 5 and making more bets on those top 5, top 10 plays than I ever have before.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I think that, like you said, I don't think the places have quite figured out just how much they're leaving us on the table at the top 5 numbers. I have a couple multiples for you. Obviously, we've already talked about Justin Rose. I expect Justin Rose to keep it rolling from 2 weeks ago at a venue where, like you said, he's already won in 2023. I think
And he
he's going to
dominated
be,
like he did at Torrey when he won in 2023. There's another one where he just came out the gates and just blew the field away.
The more we talk about him, the more I'm wishing I would have put him in my 2-win category, but I do have him in my top 5 category. Another one that this is going against, because I think
you can
he's only
still
played
put him in your
once.
2-win category, buddy. Like, there's time to bet on him.
But Michael Thorbornskin, I think, is really, really in form. So he finished T3 last week. That makes 5 out of his last 9 events top 20. And then this week, just looking at his overall strokes gained, he's 10th in the field in strokes gained total. So you're getting top 10 value in the way that he's playing, and you're getting top 5 at plus 570, top 10 at plus 260, so 26 to 1. I really think that, or excuse me, I really think that he's a player that you really need to watch for. And then my last top 10, this one's kind of off the deep end, but that is Jacob Bridgman. I don't know if
Oh no,
you've
that's not off
done
the
any.
deep end. He's actually one of my top
So
10
getting
plays.
six
Go
six
ahead.
to one odds, 6 to 1 odds on Bridgman to top 10 to
Uh-huh.
top 10. He's got three
Oh
straight
boy.
top 20s, three straight top 20s coming into it. He's just absolutely on a heater. And I really think that if he puts it all together, like you said, on the greens, he gained almost 2 shots on the greens last week. When a guy, when they weren't outside of the top, top 5 or so, they weren't making a ton of putts out there. He putted well. He's been putting well, and he's consistently in the top 20. I'm going to keep riding that train and expect him to top 10 this week.
Dude, that is a great call. He is one of my 7,500 and below, or bargain plays on my DraftKings cheat sheet this week. And again, I have the same bet to top 10. Again, the other plays, I got Rose at plus 215. I'm running the top 5, top 10 bet with them. And then Lucas Glover plus 860. Finished third here last year. Again, game sets up well for it. Tom Hoge, who I talked about, a lot of good finishes, including a win at this venue. He's 11 to 1 to top 10. And then again, I'm going back to the well with Hoge and Glover to top 20. Glover is plus 330 and Hoge is plus 14, or excuse me, plus 415. You had me look up Michael Thorbjornsen because I hadn't really thought about him. He is 11th right now on tour on approaches from 50 to 125 yards at 13 feet. He's also top 15 in green and regulation percentage. He's 18th in scrambling. I think you're on to something here, Scotty. This could be a venue for him. And I was really impressed with the way he played despite, the pressure and stuff, and really being the first big event that he was in real contention to win,
Yeah.
right? Like near the end of the event. He's 24-year-old. He didn't look like he blinked at all to me.
No. And just think about the only time we saw him blink all week was on 17 and 18 in that final round, going bogey. So he knows that he let the pressure get to him a little bit. He's leaving that golf course with a disdain taste in his mouth, where he can't get to Thursday quick enough. Just knowing that about him. So I think that that's a play where, again, a little bit under the radar because all the winners have played here at least twice. I believe he's only played here once if he did play last year. And it's one of those things that he keeps putting himself in a position week in and week out to be right there. And the more times he does it, I think he's going to knock one of these off, and I expect him to compete this week.
It's a great call. He played here at the U.S. Open in 2019.
Okay, there you go.
Finished 79th. But again, he would have been
He was a
2009. He would have been, I think,
young
17 years old
yeah,
for that
Blades
U.S.
Brown out
Open
there.
because he's 24. So, but I had not thought about him. That's a good call. All right, let's do some news and then we'll get out of here. Let's start with Charlie Woods. Where are you going to school, young man? Did you see that? Committed to Florida State.
Yeah. And I think
Great
that's the right
decision,
call.
right?
Yeah,
For the
I think that's the right
program.
call.
Like, I'm with you. Because of Ryan Mulvey doing his Inside Drive podcast, he is very closely connected to both the Florida State men's and women's golf coach, and they're just been a factory. Both of them have for the best players in the country. I would assume Tiger lives in Florida full time now, so
Oh yeah.
I go into Florida State. He'll be closer. Hell, he might get helicopter to classes and stuff if Daddy allows it. So you're good with that. I like to hear that. What do you
Yeah, I
think
think
about
it's
the
the right
resurgence of
fit.
our boy Patrick Reed?
Captain America. Oh, man, he is hot right now on the golf course.
He's
With
such a
his
good golfer,
with
man.
his Starbucks drink that he went viral for a couple weeks ago.
That
And
was great. That was good.
but no, I really like I've come around a little bit more since we did this podcast the first time back in the day. I've come around on P. Reed a little bit more. I do think he's a hell of a competitor. And I think that what was weird was when it did drop that he may be making his way back to the tour, you didn't see a ton of the negative. There was some bot comments and a few tweets that I saw, but you didn't see the backlash that I thought you might see for him. And now you didn't see it with Brooks either. So maybe that we are just in a place in the ecosystem of golf where we've all kind of healed from the split, and we now just all want our boys back on the tour. So I'm excited to see P Reed back. I think he's playing extremely well on the DP World Tour. Just knocked off another one over there. And yeah, so he's beaten Fleetwood, and he's beaten the other guys that are over there, and we know they have some strong competition over there. So I do think that it's going to be good for the tour to get some of their quote unquote villains back. Even if they're not so much villains. But you know who is a villain, just to lead us into our next segment? The jackass.
Can I say something on Patrick Reed before you
please? Yes.
hijack
I'm sorry.
the show?
I'm
Scott
sorry.
Porter. God almighty.
I'm sorry. I'm fired up. I'm fired up.
Messing with you, buddy. I hope he earns it through the DP World Tour. I think that would be so cool for him to actually earn his way back to the PGA Tour. And I know technically these guys have, because, they have to have qualifications or whatever, but it feels like he's saying, because he hasn't exactly been giving the clear that you'll be able to come back, because his major was 2019, technically just outside of the window that they said. I just think it would be so Patrick Reed to be like, I don't need your freaking invite. I'll go earn it. And we need him in the Ryder Cup. I've been screaming this for almost a decade now. We don't have guys that win Ryder Cup matches. We had one, and we had a duo, which we've never had, with him and Spieth, and they split it up so Spieth could play with his butt buddy, Justin Thomas. And how has that worked out? I just don't understand it. The Americans never have duos. The Europeans constantly have these, two guys that you pair them together and they're unbeatable for 3-4 Ryder Cups. We had one. They had, I believe it was either 2 or 3 Ryder Cups where they were just remarkable together, 5-1. And then what do we do? We split them up for no damn reason. I just I don't get it. That's why we lose and they win. Go ahead, buddy. Get on these stupid ass fans, because they've gone too far.
The thing is, the main incident that I'm speaking of, and I'm gonna be right there with you on Hideki's backswings in a second. But the main one that bothers me the most is this jackass. I'm not even gonna say his name because I don't want to give him any credit. But the dude the dude that's an influencer that paid the dude $100 to say jackass in the backswing. Not to sound like the get off my lawn guy, but at this point, when we're inviting people like that to the party, let's shrink it a little bit and get the jackasses out, because that was an
he wasn't invited. He bought a ticket.
Well,
right?
He bought a ticket. I'm just saying, when golf has gotten, that's one of the negative ramifications of the fact that golf has just had this huge boom, a Tiger-esque boom since post-COVID. And when you've taken the party that is the waste management, you're gonna have some unruly stuff happen out there. But that is blatant. That is disrespecting the game that we both love so much, the game that we've dedicated a ton of our lives to. But there's 50,000 more people that have done more for the sport, that you're slapping every single one of them in the face when stuff like this or stuff like this comes to light. And it was good on the tour to give him the lifetime ban. You're never coming back.
Did you see the video of the conversation the guy had with him?
Yeah.
Kudos to that rules official. He goes, I know
100%.
who you are and I know what you're doing. And if you come back, you're going to be arrested. And it just shows so much about that dude that he's like my size, okay? And he walks around trying to start fights because he's got 2 bodyguards that weigh 300 pounds. So basically he starts shit and then allows obviously his security to take, care of it, quote unquote, and act tough. It's what a bitch. Second of all, just dude, if you're going to do that, how are you going to then try to be well, I didn't say it. It's dude, you told the guy you give him $100. Times are tough, man. I'm not even blaming the guy that you're going to give me $100 for yelling jackass in the backswing. That's an easy $100, right? I would have considered it. but not only for him
No, he
to,
wouldn't.
you know what I'm saying, do that, but then when they came over, they're trouble. Well, I didn't say it. It was him. I just told him I'd give him $100. It's like, what a bitch, man. Like, come
Yeah,
on, man.
this trend of shock value or shock entertainment, where you just say the most outrageous thing that can come to your mind, and you put it on camera and you try to get clicks off of it. Like, our society would 100% be better without it. It doesn't make us any better. It doesn't make us any smarter. It doesn't make us any. It just is one of those things where it rubs me the wrong way. So anytime I see it, and then I see it invade the sport that I love and invade the game that I love, I'm just happy it happened at Waste Management and didn't happen at a place like Augusta or a place, like that, where at least at Waste Management, you go into it with an expectation of anything can happen because of the alcohol, because of the party that it is. So I think from the player side of things, they can kind of strike it up to, okay, we're past that one. I'm just hoping that nothing like that happens moving forward.
So the chair didn't bother me at all. Like, that's an
Yeah.
accident. This stuff happens.
100%.
I think I've told you the story about Ricky dropped his beer and Fred Couples backswing on 16 at Augusta, like to where Fred stopped his swing and looked like right up at us. And I'm just
What
like,
a smooth swing to stop.
I'm like, it's Ricky. It's Ricky. But the jackass that yelled, "Get in the hole" on the putt on 18, that's unacceptable. Like, it's literally, it's like what John Hall and Ricky say all the time to my pops Chuck, who we love, who just can't keep his mouth shut right when you're getting ready to pull the trigger. Can you just shut up for 5 seconds to let me hit the shot, and then you can scream and do whatever the hell you want to? But the guy wanted to be the cool, don't get me wrong. Part of what I love about golf is on, looking back at like Tiger, huge putts, or Rory huge putts or whatever, there's always that person that right off the putter, you're in the hole. Like, yeah, that's awesome. But you can't yell it early. You can't yell it before
you gotta
you've
time
actually
it.
made contact. Yeah, you gotta
time it.
Don't be that guy.
And again, it's this culture to being first. You want to be the guy that says it. So they're all there. I mean, it's damn near an Olympic sport trying to get those words out when anybody has a putt on the green. So it's one of those things where, again, that one doesn't bother me as much as the kid that paid the guy to say it. Like, that. It's gotten to a place where I almost expect somebody to yell out early just because the tour hasn't done anything to rein that in. But also, if you look at it from a brand perspective, like, these people are just actually trying to egg them on and trying to uplift them. It's not people that are calling each other jackasses or paying each other to do it. So I think if we're going to look at it from a grand perspective, one of them happens at a lot of tournaments. One of them only happened at this one, and I hope it stays at this one. I hope it doesn't leak in. It reminds me of Happy Gilmore when he does bring like you said, he does bring like the plethora of extreme fans or the new fans to the game. They just need to learn
Waste management.
Yeah, they just need to learn just a half a second longer. We can still hear you, but just a half a second longer on those shots and on those putts.
All right. Well, on that note, 2 episodes down, bro.
Yeah, man.
You got anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Not at the moment. Just keep following the show. We appreciate your support.
Mustache?
This mustache has been here long enough for you to get used to it, I think. But
you moved away, so that's not gonna float, buddy.
I just wish I could grow the rest of it.
It looks a little bit like a Mario mustache, and don't get me wrong. Part of it is I'm jealous that I'm in my 40s and I still can't grow a mustache. So, but it is it's pretty impressive. With the Epstein stuff still going on, I won't call it a Chester molester mustache. That's not fair. But it looks good, man. It does.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
On you.
The only reason I haven't shaved it itches, to be honest. I just haven't shaved it because my wife really does like it, and I think she likes it because it makes me. Here's my thing, though. I think she likes it because it makes me just a little bit uglier, and I think that's her way of just saying, no, he's gonna stay right here. But no, anyways, I've really enjoyed the podcast so far. 2 episodes down. It was nice to start off with a dub last week, giving got her up. I hope we can keep it going with one of our picks. I hope somebody takes those and wins a bunch of money. And we appreciate y'all following along. So shout out to Fantasy Six Pack. Shout out to Keith Fleming. Shout out to the GOAT Nico right there. who
He's like,
is
I can't
my
believe
buddy.
you woke me up, man.
Yeah.
Have you met Lola, the other one?
I don't think so. No, I
All
haven't.
right, we'll have to change that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nico's been around for a while, so him and Scott have hung out. This is the best dog in the world right here. This is my buddy.
He really is.
He's funny. He's an asshole though, but that's why I love him. Oh, he's sleepy too. But again, check out all the amazing work on Fantasy Six Pack. We've got just for the golf stuff, I've got the cheat sheets, the article. Obviously, you can go back and listen to this if you just want to hear me and Scott talk some more on both Spotify and YouTube. The baseball content they put out, like there's nobody better. Seriously, just amazing stuff from Joe and the guys. And then thanks to Dave Eddy, they do the bet sheet, the best bet sheet. It could be bets on golf. It could be bets on basketball, baseball, whatever. But they want to help you win money, and you should take advantage of it. So appreciate all the people listening. Kyle, you the man, buddy. Miss doing some football start sit questions with you on Sundays, but it'll be back in no time. But again, we'll be back next week, man. Back-to-back signature events, which that's a lot of fun. But for Keith and Scott, this has been Two Off the Tee. We'll see you.